name's Paul Barte, and I teach at Ohio University. I've been on the faculty in the School of Music here this is my 21st year teaching here.
So I met Paul Barte, if I recall, for the first time. It was a chance meeting at the Sells Park Trailhead.
First time I met Paul, he was introduced to me by a mutual friend of ours named Ben Ogles. I sat and talked to him at church.
I was finishing up a run, and I remember Paul was there with his son. Somehow we struck up a conversation.
We didn't become best friends right away. I don't even know if we really became friends right away.
And at the time, you know, I get many runners that come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm a runner." And you know, when you see a mid-50s-year-old guy and he says he's a runner, you kind of brush it off because, you know, you're a young collegiate guy.
Of course, of time, we had more things and interests, started spending more time together, and became good friends.
I started running January 19th, 2010. And I got into running because I had been an avid tennis player before. My friend Ben invited me to go running with him. And I have to say that I thought, running? Why would I want to do that? I was pretty lukewarm about it, but I figured, well, give it a chance and go out and do it a few times, see what it's like. So I started running with him. He and I would meet over at our church at 6 o'clock in the morning.
He's a 5:30 a.m. runner. I'm not. A lot of people, for some reason, there are a lot of runners that run at 5:30, but the core group in Athens are mostly afternoon runners. And I think kind of deep down, Paul likes that. Paul likes being different. He likes to be the one that's up earlier than everyone else. He's doing something that nobody else does. And I think every runner kind of searches for that one thing in their life that makes them different. And part of that thing for Paul is his streaks.
So in the Athens/global running community, there's a lot of discussion about Paul's running streaks.
Yeah, he doesn't follow a typical training plan, and that's his choice.
I've run 6 days a week since early December of 2010.
I know there are some people in the running community that think that if you take a Sunday off, it's not really a streak. And Paul has never given any pretense that his streak is 7 days a week. Paul has always clearly stated that he runs 6 days a week. And
I guess I maybe made a somewhat conscious thought about doing a half marathon every week. And so again, around that same time that my 6 day a week thing started, you know, early December 2010. From then to today, I've done at least one half marathon every week.
He has multiple components to his streak, but you know, he does 3,000 miles a year streak. He has run a half marathon every at least one half marathon distance. So
my opinion on Paul's streaks is, I think it's admirable that he does it for himself. He doesn't change his philosophy because of a Runner's World article or because there's pressure in the running community to race a certain race. Since the beginning, he's stayed true to his own concept of what he wants to be as a runner, and that's really cool.
Wasn't probably very long before I did like some back-to-back half marathons and stuff like that, and you know, and people start to think you're a little crazy when you start doing stuff like that. You know, I mean, because for a lot of people, even running a half marathon seems like a almost overwhelming challenge to them. So I mean, those of us who run marathons and ultra marathons, you know, 13 miles is kind of like, yeah, so what? But to do it, I think on a once a week basis for a long period of time, I guess there's something somewhat noteworthy there.
Paul's a remarkably smart person. I didn't realize the first 10 years that I knew him how smart he is. He's a very intelligent guy, very smart guy. I'm grateful that he's helped me understand introverts a little better. Paul, being a classic introvert, it's not that he doesn't like people, not that he doesn't want to have friends. He just doesn't feel the need to have 80 friends. And if you're one of those 3 or 4 or 5 people that he considers a friend, I feel lucky. He's a good guy.
So when my youngest son is now a freshman here at Ohio University, but prior to that, both with him and with that's Aaron, and also with my son Joseph when they were still in high school. I made part of my routine as I ran in the morning to route through the neighborhood where my ex-wife lives, where my sons live with her, and to just run by the bus stop where they were waiting for the bus and to say good morning to them. But it was a way for me to feel like I had a chance to have a little contact, a little connection with them on a daily basis. And it wasn't much, again, it's just, a second. But it was important to me to do that. As my son Aaron got to be, junior, senior in high school, as teenage boys, will be sometimes. I think at times he thought, Dad's just being ridiculous, He's embarrassing me in front of my friends here at the bus stop or whatever. I don't know. He never really said much of anything to that effect, but I think that's sort of maybe what was going on in his brain sometimes. But I sort of figured that, well, if he doesn't actually tell me, Dad, stop doing that, I'm going to keep doing it. And I also sort of feel like, he's still a teenager now. Maybe by the time he's 25, 30 years old, maybe he'll look back and think, that was pretty cool. Getting a little emotional here. That my dad was doing this little thing to, in a way, say, I love you. Being divorced is hard. And not being able to be with your kids like you want to is hard. And so that was something I could control.
We both go to the same church. Paul is a man of strong religious Christian faith and really has a strong belief in his Christian values and his the teachings of his church, and I really admire that about him. And he's had some difficult challenges in his life, and I think that I've admired him for maintaining his devotion to his faith, but I think also his faith has helped him get through some difficult times in his life, and I think that's very admirable.
Just hope he can keep that streak as long as he can. Many people think that he needs to stop his streak because of it being a health issue or an injury issue, but I think I'm in the camp where I want him to push through the injuries to continue his streak, because I think he needs it. I think we all need it in a way, and I think I'd sacrifice his health to continue those streaks, and I think he should too. As weird as that might sound.
Paul Barte coming in, can't miss Paul.
Woo, Miss Barte!
This is his fourth time running Iron Furnace.